our attention is very selective. It determines which sensory messages get encoded. We see selective attention in something called the cocktail party effect. I'll bet this is something else that you have experienced before, where you might be standing with a group of people and you're talking to one other person, and all of a sudden the people next to you start talking. What happens to your attention? It shifts from the conversation you're having to the conversation next to you, and you have no idea what the person in front of you who you were talking to just said. The cocktail party effect is an example of selective attention and shows that we can focus only on one voice among many. This is why it's so distracting when someone is talking in class while another person is speaking, maybe the teacher or a peer who's presenting something. Because if the person next to you is talking and your attention shifts to that voice, it's impossible for you to focus on the voice that you should be listening to. And this was one of my favorite activities that we did last year. And I'm going to have you try it out at home, maybe not with a fire extinguisher, but with something else in your home. But I asked the students, do you know the location of the nearest fire extinguisher? How confident are you that you know the location? And I gave them a survey. They filled it out, and we looked at their results, and suffice it to say, almost no one knew the location of the nearest fire extinguisher. Full disclosure, I planned this activity at home at night. Went in the next morning, and I thought to myself, oh man, I have to find the nearest fire extinguisher because I'm not even sure where it is. So I walk into my classroom. I leave my classroom to look for the fire extinguisher, and it was literally directly across the hall from me, outside of Mr. Rosenfeld's room, which at the time of this recording is right across the hall from mine. So I too very much fell victim to this fire extinguisher little exercise that we did. Now, this study was actually done back in 2012 in an office building. So the study's called Fire Drill, Inattentional Blindness and Amnesia for the Location of Fire Extinguisher. So inattentional blindness means lack of attention to an object can make us blind to something that's right in front of us. And it can lead us to have amnesia, or amnesia means we're unable to remember, for the location of that object. So this is what I found so interesting when I was reading this study. Upon returning to his office, one of the authors of this research article made a conscious effort to look for the nearest fire extinguisher and made a startling discovery. So this guy is just like me. I don't feel so bad. The conspicuously placed bright red object in question was right next to his office door, in plain view and literally inches from the doorknob that he had turned for the past 25 years. Some more results from this study. Of the 54 people tested, only 24% could actually tell the location of the nearest fire extinguisher. 8 people specified one that was not the nearest. 92% of participants found a fire extinguisher within 5 seconds of exiting their office. Initial confidence ratings, so remember I said how confident were you that you know the location, were correlated with accurately locating the nearest fire extinguisher. So people do have some awareness of knowing or not knowing the location of the nearest fire extinguisher. But just to wrap this up, again, this is referred to as inattentional blindness, or failure to see things that are right in front of us because we are not paying attention to them. There used to be, I'll talk about the gorilla test in class a little more. A lot of students have seen the gorilla test at this point, so I stopped using it as an example. I will show you this very quick video about something called change blindness, which is our blindness to change, also due to a lack of attention.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the skyline.
It's in the 20s, that's...
Careful.
If you're heading this over here.
Excuse me? It's a hotel. Whoa. Oh, I'm sorry. Third.
So maybe this is also something that you can try on your own, and then we'll report back as a class.